Welcome to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry, and this is Finish It Friday. Get to see what I finished and what some of you have finished. Finished? I don't think I have anything finished, from quilting to binding and all of that good stuff, but I do have a few things that I worked on, and so that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, what my progress is. So anything we do in the way of progress counts, doesn't it? So this week, coming off of the Paducah trip, was an adjustment to get things rolling again, but I did jump right back in and got things moving around here. I've actually done more rearranging and cleaning that I've needed to do for a while now, so I got that out of the way, but I did do some real work on some real projects, and this is one. And I don't know if I remember, I don't know if you remember, of course I remember, Mark's pattern ASTRO Journey. I am using a girly panel and trying to make mine girly. I pulled out some Tranquility scraps from Kim Deal, some polka dot grunge, and some shabby Lori Holt, and I just kind of mixed that all together to come up with something a little girly for this. Now, this pattern looks really, really good in Mark's version of it, and if you're watching his videos, you've seen the finished top. It looks fantastic. He used that space-themed panel, and the stars and all of that just looks great around that panel. And it made a good size quilt too. So here I am working on mine. I have my 6 great big stars finished. So the big stars on here that you see, 3 on each side, I have those. And now I'm doing these little stars. Now these little stars, there's going to be between the 2 large ones. You see there's a block of 4 stars, and 2 of these go in that block. So I'll have a block up here, actually 2 blocks, and then 2 blocks, 2 blocks, and 2 blocks. That will look, I have 2 of these in it, and 2 of another star that I haven't started yet. So this one is called the Eccentric Star. This star right here. That's the ones I'm working on. So tons and tons and tons of HSTs. So, and then once you get the HSTs done, you make these little blocks. So I'm moving right along, and I would like to get this done over the weekend and put together. We'll see. I don't know. It's a lot to say that I could get all of that done this weekend. Theoretically, time-wise, I could. But will I stick with it long enough? Because you know how I am. I like to jump around on projects. I get bored and I need to go do something else. So we'll see how far I get. But this is one of my main projects I want to kind of wrap up here soon, as well as the peaceful baskets. I got my extra fabric in that I needed for that. So that's something that I want to wrap up because it's time for the new block of the month from the Sew Sampler box. So some of you have seen this already, and this year it's called Flowering. That is the name of the block of the month from the Sew Sampler box. And this particular block is called You Grow Girl block. And here is my block. And it is a monster. I think it's 18.5. Yes, it says 18.5. Very simple. Didn't take very long to do this, really. And I'm using something from my stash called Florette from Riley Blake. It's by Jerry Robinson of Planted Seeds Designs. So I have a collection of 12 of these colors. 2 of them are kind of light. I might have to throw those out and reuse some of the ones that I've used, will have used throughout the blocks. But there's a good color variety in there, but it is a very subdued print, more like a blender, but it does have that precious little flower in it. So I thought it was appropriate for flowering. So that is the beginnings of the new Sew Sampler Sew Along block of the month. I don't think I did too much else over the last little bit that I've talked to you. I did do some long arming for someone. I've got plenty of long arming I need to do for myself as well, and bindings. So it's May 1st here today, May 2nd when you're watching this, and it's a no-buy month. A no-buy month means I'm not going to spend any money on any sorts of sewing, crafting, quilting items unless I absolutely need them to finish a project or what have you. So I'm thinking it might be a good month to get a few things long-armed that I'm getting behind on, and then also do some of those bindings. And I also have 2 quilts that I want to put in the Kentucky State Fair, and I need to get those bindings hand sewn on. You can attach it by machine, but you know, when you flip it, I have to hand bind it. So I'm going to be doing that, and a whole host of other things are in the works as far as projects goes around here. Some things I can talk about and some things I cannot talk about, but I am one busy gal, and I'll show you everything that I can show you. Alright, that is it for me. So let's go into the finishes that all of you have had. First, we have a finish from Shelly. She says that this is a quilt from the Fabric Cafe 5-Yard Quilt book that they had come out recently, and its name is Bella. The fabric that she used is from Marshall's Dry Goods, and she made a rope bowl to match. So I'm assuming that your rope bowl is made up from the scraps from your fabrics left over from the bowl, since it matches so well. And I love the golds and the bright lilac color, and I don't know if you would call it an aqua or a light mint. Not likely colors that you would think would go together, but boy do they. They look awesome. Your quilt kind of has a little bit of an Egyptian flair to it. I really like it. And Shelly always makes these bowls with her extra fabric, and that is just wonderful. Would make a great gift set for someone. Susan says, I started this scrappy 9-patch quilt recently and thought I'd work on it a little at a time. But that didn't happen. Once I got into it, I couldn't stop. I started out with leftover charm squares cut down to 2.5-inch squares, and also incorporated scraps from my stash. The blocks finished at 6.5 inches. I had planned to donate the quilt, but my husband said it might be his favorite and wants to keep it. I was glad because I like it too. I love it, and I love your 6.5-inch 9 patches. Makes me want to get my scraps out. Turned out fantastic. Pat has a baby quilt that she made for a friend. It's 48 inches square and was inspired by designer Jen Carlton Bailey's appearance on PBS's Fresh Quilting. Quilted by Orchid Owl in Las Vegas. And this is a very modern version of a baby quilt. I love it. The curved piecing is very nice to look at. And the sun in the middle, well, I'm calling it a sun, is very, it brings your eye in. And then I also love how you rounded the corners of the quilt to mimic the design of the curved piecing. That's fantastic. Also, the quilt pattern that was chosen, also in a modern design, was perfect. Kayleen says it's been a bit since she has sent something in, but here she is with a couple of finishes. She says our guild challenge this year was called A Song in Your Heart, and we had to pick a song that had a color in the title. I designed this quilt from a picture I found on Pinterest. It's called Purple Rain, and this quilt is around 30 by 30. Great job. I see those big purple raindrops. The second is my funky face self-portrait that will hang in my local quilt show next month with the Art Quilters exhibit, and it is 12 by 12. Look at you, Kayleen. You are so cute. Made up into a quilt. Awesome. You've got a cold nose. It's blue. Very cute. Great job. Sandra. She says, I purchased this quilt top at an estate sale here in Florida. All the fabric and unfinished projects you could stuff in a bag for $5. I added the borders, backing, and binding. I was honored to finish what was started by another quilter. Very nice. Yeah, I would be stuffing an entire quilt top in my $5 bag too. This is very interesting fabric and all the little, it looks like maybe there's some really small 9 patches and then also some, I don't know if you call that travel fabric. I'm not sure what the little cards are, but it's definitely something vintage. It looks like something that should be in a museum. Good for you, stitching that up, getting that finished. It is an honor. Good job, Sandy. Annie. Annie sent this to us a while back, and it was just a top. Now she has it finished, but I want to share the details with you on this if you'd forgotten, because I sure had. She says she finally quilted it. It has 9,800 triangles, or to put it differently, 4,900 half square triangles, and she had used those for leaders and enders for 5+ years. And finally put the top together last year. It's 100+ inches square. It's a big one. I bet it's heavy too, with all that stitching in there. And I love how you did the square and the darker shades in the center and around the edges. That's an awesome quilt. Very good job on that. Good for you. Janice sent us a group effort quilt here. She says this is the log cabin quilt we, quilting friends, just finished and donated to the senior center for a fundraiser. I pieced the top and we all hand quilted it. So much fun quilting with friends. Oh, I love seeing your group. And yes, that would be so fun to sit around and hand stitch all the quilting onto this quilt. It's a lovely quilt and bright yellow centers, and then that's mimicked over in one of the borders. It just turned out really, really good. Stephanie started this a while back. This is Lori Holt's chicken salad quilt, and this is quite an ambitious quilt project. A lot of applique, and of course all Lori Holt fabrics here. You can see how it all goes so well together. So these are from her line, and then also the chickens are appliqued on. There's a lot of work to that. Stephanie says that she dabbled in quilting about 30 years ago, and then again about 2 years ago, but now she's only been quilting since about August of last year, 2024. So this was a very ambitious quilt to take on with not having quilted a whole lot in recent years, but obviously you're very talented and was able to get this quilt completely finished. And I see that you made the applique pieces and pieced the quilt on your sewing machine, but appliqued and quilted it by hand. So congratulations to you, Stephanie. This is just a really, really great accomplishment there. These are from Karen, and she's been showering her grandson with quilts ever since he's been born, her first grandson. He just turned 1 at the end of March. He has 4 quilts at his house and 2 quilts at Grandma's house. So let me show you all of the quilts here. She says they've all been quilted on her domestic machine. The one that says, oh boy, she says this was from a magazine about, Oh, let's see. She says 2017 or 2018. She says you can still find this pattern online, but you didn't say what magazine it's from. But I'm sure if you Googled baby quilt and oh boy, a pattern would show up. Great job on that. That's neat. The other one, she says this pattern was my own basic heart block from a layer cake. The backing was pieced, that's the second picture that you see, with a lighter background so they could display either the dark or the light version. Great idea. Yes, it's two completely different quilts that way. And yes, it's hearts, but boys like hearts too, and it's done up in blues and yellows. The last one is a growth panel that she quilted and bound for him, and they did take the monthly photos like you're supposed to for one of these. So great job on that too. I'm glad they used it too. The very last one is an Elizabeth Hartman Cats in Space pattern. And each astronaut has almost 70 pieces. And this is the quilt top. She has quilted it since, but she wanted us to see this. That is amazing. And I'm sure he's enjoying that. Cats in Space. The last one I have for you is from Lori. And this one, she says the pattern is a free pattern from the Fat Quarter shop, and it's called Fat Quarters Blooms. And she made it a little bit larger so she could use up her Tilda stash that she had. And this one says that she added a narrow inner border, a background fabric, and an outer border that I made using the charms cut in half into 2.5 by 5 pieces, sewn end to end, and then that made the quilt 76 by 82. It has a pale blue solid backing, and she machine bound it. And also, she says the beautiful floral edge-to-edge quilting was done by my local Longarmer Pam of Quilting Makes the Quilt. So this is a very nice quilt as well. Love the Tilda fabrics there that I see in amongst all the stars. And then we see a little bit of the backing there, which shows us the solid backing, the quilting, and also your machine binding. And I happen to think machine binding is the best thing since sliced bread. So, yeah, there's no rule anymore about hand stitching binding on. You can do it if you want to, but you don't have to. We have wonderful tools to make it very accurate and acceptable on a quilt these days. So that is what we have for this week. All right, congratulations everyone for getting those things finished. Very inspiring, very nice work done there, and I hope that this weekend you will continue on your projects that you don't have finished so that we can see more finishes next week on Finish It Friday. Until then, I am going to continue on this and other things around here. And I'll see you back here on Monday Quilt Chat, where we chat about all the quilty things in my world and in the world in general. All right, have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.